I know you guys see this lovely article in front of you, but this isn't really just about this article. I am just having so much fun looking at Hollywood be so silly. And, because in a in a move that really surprised nobody, but of course it's supposed to be earth-shattering and you're supposed to pat every Hollywood elitist on the back for this because oh my goodness, they are working for you progress. April O'Neil is now black. And according to Screen Rants, the fans are loving it because apparently, according to them, the fans always seem to think that April O'Neil was black, even though April O'Neil was never black. And even in the comics, she was never black. But, apparently I'm just too stupid, from my time of watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid that I just didn't know. I didn't know that I could not enjoy watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and liking April O'Neil. I did not know that I could not enjoy it unless April O'Neil was black. Just like I had no idea that I could not like Peter Pan. Like I couldn't like the movies, I couldn't like the IP. I could like it was just an impossibility without seeing Tinkerbell be black because now that Tinkerbell is black, I can see myself and in seeing myself somehow that makes my enjoyment that much better because somehow turning white people into black people just makes me as a black person because I'm told this all the time. I'm told this. So it must be true that somehow these stories are even better to me. They're more relatable to me because you took a white character and you turned them black, and somehow, that makes the story that much better. It makes it that much more relatable. I can now believe that I can be a tiny pixie fairy because there's now a black chick playing Tinkerbell. I can I can believe I can be a mermaid in the ocean because Ariel is now black. I can now believe that I couldn't believe I could be a journalist before. I had no idea I could never be a journalist. I could be, I can be a journalist and fight with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can see myself in it now because April O'Neil is black. And that I just like I other than just wow, the absolute sheer just insanity of that thinking. Like that narrow-minded, like just surface level view of people that this progressivism and especially progressivism in Hollywood has a people, it just like it shines so bright in these things. Like it just shines so bright. So apparently now redheads just don't exist at all. Like natural gingers just don't exist. And I know that Tinkerbell is not a ginger, but this crazy thing they're doing, she might as well be. Because now being a natural ginger just does not exist because now if there's a role that involved a ginger, suddenly it has to be a black woman. Like I remember in comics and I've mentioned this before, and feeling this kind of trepidation every time there was a new black female character introduced somewhere because inevitably I knew she was going to be a lesbian. And I just like, and I kept being told, just like I'm being told with this, that I am supposed to see myself now. I can now enjoy these properties. I couldn't enjoy them before. I thought I could. I couldn't, but I couldn't. I just could not enjoy them because I could not see myself. And it makes me, like, it makes me. think back to a conversation that I had with an uncle of mine before he passed away from cancer. He talked about, you know, well, the Leave It to Beavers, like that used to be the thing he loved to watch when he was a kid. And he was saying he never had a problem watching that show. Like, he loved that show. He never had a problem watching that show. But then, because as he got older, he was progressive, he kept saying, but it must have had an effect on me. And it basically is it must have had an effect on him because he was told that it had an effect on him because he was told that, those shows at that time, that kind of living was only for white people. That Leave It to Beaver living was only for white people. And forget, the shows that had black nuclear families. Like those shows didn't exist. Like because you couldn't enjoy the Leave It to Beavers. You couldn't enjoy, the Addams families. You couldn't enjoy anything that showed nuclear families because as a black person, because they weren't black, you can't enjoy it. And like this message that just keeps being presented and the lying that goes into, because like all I can really say about the title of this article in front of me is that yeah, they're lying through their teeth. Like I'm tired. I'm tired of the revising of history. Obviously, I am, but I'm more tired of being told that I'm not supposed to enjoy something unless I see myself in it. Because, like, that's such a shallow way of that's such a shallow way of living. It's such a it's such a it's despicable in a way. And because they're gearing this toward the next generation, so you're really teaching kids that they are nothing more than the color of their skin, that they can't enjoy anything unless the person on TV looks exactly like them. But we are now erasing certain genders and certain races from television. We're now erasing them so that we could pretend that the world is more what Hollywood says it is than what the world actually is. So we are now doing more damage to this next generation in this idea that there's somehow, because I'm going to say them because I like this idea that I can only enjoy something or that children can only enjoy something if the face looks exactly like them, like that's taken away a child's imagination. I'm not like the Turtles were my favorite. The Turtles were my favorite. Donatello was my favorite. Actually, it was more Raphael because Raphael was always rough around the edges, and I am very rough around the edges. So I enjoyed Raphael being rough around the edges. But I felt more affinity toward the Turtles than I ever felt toward April O'Neil. Even though I liked April O'Neil, she wasn't my favorite character. The Turtles were my favorite characters. I still say all the time when it comes to comics, Superman is still my very favorite character. I don't care how many female heroes they put in front of me. Superman is still my favorite. So I'm not Kryptonian. I'm not a male. I'm not a mutated turtle running around New York, trying to beat the Foot Clan. Like I'm not, but I can relate to those characters just as much as I could to anything else. I can't relate to a character that literally is only the color of their skin or is only there to be tokenized. Like that is literally only there so that Hollywood can be patted on the back. And like it goes back to what I said last video. And I really do believe it. I think these things are made to fail. Because I think Hollywood at this point wants to fail because they have to know that these things are failures because they can't you can't look at what has actually succeeded in the movie theaters and convince yourself that the garbage that you push that nobody then wants is actually what they really want, because that audience has just not manifested itself. And that, like, yeah, that audience that they think is out there, that majority they think is out there, that loves this, you know, sudden push of destroying properties. And I'm going to say it's destroying properties because it's not necessarily the fact that you are race swapping and gender swapping characters. It's the fact that you're being lazy in the doing it. And so people can tell the difference of when something is lazy. And they may not look at it as being part of the culture war. They may not look at it as being something having to do with politics. Like they like it may just be as simple as they look at something and they go, I don't enjoy that. And they move on about their business because, like, I'm never going to watch this show. And it's not because they turned April O'Neil black. Like, the show could be good. I mean, at this point, I'm way too old, but it's more I don't really like Seth Rogen, and I don't think he's funny, and I don't think that anything he's done, because I think about that atrocity that he did with the Santa movie. Yeah, no. I don't think whatsoever it's going to be good. And it's really just as easy as that I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch Peter Pan and Wendy, because that also looks like it's not going to be good and it's going to be garbage. And it's going to ruin the whole story because you essentially are changing the story because this idea that Hollywood needs to reflect the world as it is today, even though these are people that have been so far removed from the real world. And I'm going to say that when they think themselves different from everybody, they're correct, because they're so far removed from reality, they don't even know what reality is anymore. And this picture that they keep trying to paint of what reality is fails every time. And the people that they need to pay for these movies, to make these movies successful, are never reached because those people can tell that you are not true, that you're not true to what you're talking about, that you're being lazy, that you're not actually in love with what you're doing. You're just doing it because you think people are stupid and you think that they're just going to give you a quick dollar. And that basically, that basically is that. I'm kind of at the point I'm ready for Hollywood to fail. Like, I don't like it. I don't want anything to do with it. And yeah, I think the more they keep trying to push this narrative, and because it very much is the narrative, like they're using these bait and switches as shields for criticism, because you can't criticize. I mean, because think about what happened with Rings of Power. You can't criticize anything that Hollywood did because, you criticizing them meant that you were either a racist or a sexist, because of course you were. You know, the show Obi-Wan did the same thing. They put these characters out there, and that's why I say it. I think Hollywood at this point makes these properties to fail, because instead of putting real work into things, instead of putting creativity into things, you hire a minority, you tell that minority to go out there and talk about being a minority and how they, as a minority, are so important to the story. And they're important to the story not because their character is a great character, but because they are a minority. And so if you dislike this property, that means that you don't like minorities. And if you don't like minorities, that means you're a terrible person, and you can't talk about the lack of creativity, and you can't talk about the technical issues. You can't talk about anything having to do with anything, because they have set the argument up that for you to criticize this, that means you are criticizing based on gender or race alone. And that is my biggest problem with Hollywood. And so, yeah, it's not surprising that, we've now turned well established characters into black women. Like, I still find that disgusting. I find it very disturbing. And as a black woman myself, I don't find that empowering at all. Like, like I feel like I said, being told that I'm to feel empowered, being told that I'm to feel like this is the most important thing that has ever happened, being told I am to feel seen. Because that's the point. Like I can't walk like I can go anywhere and people see me because I exist as a person. And I can't escape the fact that I'm black. So people see me and they know I'm a black person. But now I'm to feel really seen, and I'm really told that I am to feel a certain kind of way, and I'm supposed to pat all these Hollywood types on the back because, oh my goodness, you are now making me feel seen. And this is done by Seth Rogen. So, yes, Mr. White Man, thank you for helping me feel seen. That's how I'm being told that's how I'm supposed to feel. And I don't feel that. I don't feel that. I don't feel that. I like other than other than those on social media that are willing to push the narrative but don't even consume the product because that's the point. For those like they're catering to an audience that just wants to ruin a property, but they're not even gonna come in and be your audience. They just wanna rally behind the idea that something was done that makes them feel satisfied that people are angry. Yeah, that's so well done, Hollywood. Well done. And yeah, that's kind of that's kind of all that I have. Like there's not like it's Hollywood. At this point, I don't really have much to say about Hollywood because I don't really like Hollywood. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this video. If you listened this long, thank you for listening. And of course, all the usual things that everyone who wants to grow their channel likes to say, the like, share, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I will see you on the next video. Bye.